Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to Clarinda. We've got a Hawkeye 10 softball matchup going on here in just a few moments between the Atlantic Trojans and the Clarinda Cardinals. This will be the second time that these two teams have met this season. Atlantic was able to get the 4-2 win there in the first matchup back on June 17th. Both these teams through this point into the season, we've got about two or 3 weeks left here in the regular season, and then we flip into postseason mode. We'll go ahead and Atlantic this year under head coach Terry Hinsman, 18-10, 11-3 there in the Hawkeye 10, and they were, like I said, they were able to get a win over Clarinda earlier this year. That was Clarinda's only loss in the conference. There is still an undefeated team here in the Hawkeye 10 at softball, and that is Creston. They're sitting at 13-0. So right now, there's still a big battle going on between who's going to sit atop this conference at the end of the year between Clarinda, Atlantic, and Creston, because Clarinda this year, under Coach Brad Knight, 17-6 on the season and 7-1 in the Hawkeye 10. So they've got some doubleheaders coming up here in the next coming weeks. I know they've got Lewis Central, Denison still to play. So still some top talent there in the Hawkeye 10. We'll see how that ends up towards the end of the season. But we are set and ready to go as McKenna Schrader, the center fielder, steps up to the plate for the first time here tonight. Mallory Woods is the pitcher in the circle tonight for the Cardinals. Woods kind of the go-to pitcher for Clarinda this year as she goes down in the count 1-0 early on Schrader. Here's the 1-0 pitch. This one's hit on by Schrader, popped up into right. Actually, center fielder Maddie Cole get underneath of it, make the grab for out number 1. As I was saying, Mallory Woods, a sophomore this year, she's got a 6-2 records, and Clarinda has split pretty even between their three pitchers, Addison Woods, Addison Wagner, and Mallory Woods. But again, Mallory Woods, the sophomore in the circle tonight. She's got 42 strikeouts on the year. That's a team leading 42, and she's also got an ERA of 2.94, which is pretty impressive in the 50 innings that she's thrown this season. She gets a quick out on McKenna Schrader there with the pop out, and now McKenna Sontag, the second baseman, steps up to the plate for the Trojans. The 0-1 pitch to Sontag gets fouled directly back into the fence, and the count will go to 0-2. McKenna Sontag, the senior this season, 21 hits, 12 of those being singles. She's got 7 doubles and 2 home runs. She's got 8 RBIs and hitting an average this year of 300. She finds herself down in the count 0-2 early on Mallory Woods. The 0-2, this one's hit on by Sontag. Will go to third baseman Janessa Woolsey, who makes the play at first for out number 2, and that's how the first 2 outs of the inning go. And now the 3-hitter for Atlantic, Lila Wiederstein, the designated player here today. Often you'll see Wiederstein behind the plate for the Trojans, but tonight playing at the designated pitcher position. She's got 35 hits on the year, 17 of those being singles, 9 doubles, 3 triples, and 6 home runs. At 24 RBI on the season as well for Wiederstein. She's got a team-high average of .515. Also an on-base percentage of .539 as well. So Wiederstein has been really well good this year on the plate. She continues that here today. A base hit to center field. And she gets the first base runner on for the Trojans here tonight with a single. Zoe Kirchhoff, the pitcher, now steps up to the plate for the Trojans. Kirchhoff, a junior this year. She's got a team-leading 38 hits, by the way. 26 of those being singles, 8 doubles, 2 triples, 2 home runs. Team-leading 33 RBI. There's another menace there at the plate as Wiederstein takes off. She'll get there in time, and the ball gets back into center field. Wiederstein will head for 3, end up safe at third, and that's where she will end up on a stolen base and a missed throw. The Trojans have a runner on third, but with 2 outs. With Kirchhoff's ability to hit the ball, though, This isn't a situation they don't hate. 38 hits this year for Kirchhoff, like I said, and 92 at bats. Here's the 1-0. This is high for ball 2, and the count goes to 2-0. Now with Wiederstein over on third, that does put some pressure on the Cardinals defense here. Here's the 2-0. This one's hit on by Kirchhoff. It'll go to second baseman Ellie Nelson, who makes the grab for out number 3, and that's how the top of the first ends. We go to the bottom of the first, where after Atlantic leaves one on third. Clarinda will hit their 1, 2, 3. Riley Maher, Stevie Wilmus, and Annika Price. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this.
Your engine to power through the toughest conditions? Then you need John Deere Plus 52 engine oil. Built for extreme environments, Plus 52 gives your engine the protection it deserves and keeps it running at peak performance. Right now, you can save big at AgriVision Equipment. During the month of February, get 10% off select packaged oil and 15% off filters. It's the perfect time to stock up. Don't wait. This offer ends on 2/28/25. Stop by AgriVision Equipment or visit agrivisionequipment.com today.
You dream about living in the country? Make your dream a reality with specialized lending from Rural First. Whether you want an acreage to build your dream home or a wide open space for your kids to play, Rural First has the financing to get you closer to what matters. Visit ruralfirst.com. NMLS IDs 407249, 579135, and 628123. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to eligibility and approval.
Welcome back here into Clarinda. The Cardinals getting set to bat for the first time tonight, but they will be facing in the circle Zoe Kirchhoff of Atlantic. The junior this year has pitched in 14 games. She started in all 14 of those. She's got a 7-5 records, 69 innings pitched there for Kirchhoff, 52 strikeouts, and a 3.33 ERA. Between her and the sophomore Peyton McLaren, they spend a majority of the time for Atlantic there at the circle, but also Bryn Lamp, the sophomore, also finds some time in the circle as well. She's got 6 games pitched so far this year. But like I said, Kirchhoff, 14 games pitched this year for the Trojans, set to start game number 15. She'll be facing off against the 1, 2, 3 to start things off for Clarinda. Riley Maher, Stevie Wilmus, and Annika Price. Maher, the lefty, steps up to the plate to start. Kirchhoff's first pitch to Maher is fouled directly back, and the count goes to 0-1. Riley Maher, just an 8th grader this year, leads the team in hits with 26. She's got 20 singles, 4 doubles, and 3 triples, as long as 14 RBI on the season. Hitting an average of 377 and an on-base percentage of 469. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Kirchhoff to Maher. Just misses outside for a ball, and the count will even up at 1-1. Both of these teams have had their fair share in the last couple of years of sitting atop the Hawkeye 10 Conference. Clarinda was able to win it last year, where Atlantic, I believe, finished in 3rd. And now they're right back in the same position, battling for a top spot in the Hawkeye 10. Kirchhoff is a strike in on Maher to get up in the count, 1 ball to 2 strikes. The 1-2 pitch from Kirchhoff to Maher, low for a ball. The count will even up at 2-2. Let's go ahead and set the defense for you here really quickly for the Trojans. McKenna Schrader out in center field. McKenna Sontag at second. Left fielder Madison McLaren. Like I said, Zoe Kirchhoff's in the circle as Maher pops one up directly to third baseman. That's Schroeder who makes the grab. Claire Schroeder, excuse me. Making the grab for out number 1. Dylan Ball over at right. Also the infield, Jillian Satoff over at first, Claire Schroeder at third, and Peyton McLaren at short. Behind the plate tonight for the Trojans, Olivia Knath. The Trojans now have an out on the Cardinals as Maher, like I said, popped up to third baseman. But Stevie Wilmus doesn't spend too much time at the plate. She takes one off the foot. She'll end up on first with a hit by pitch. And the Cardinals have their first base runner of the afternoon. Now the shortstop, Annika Price, steps up to the plate. Price, a junior. Here's the first pitch from Kirchhoff to Price, fouled directly back, and the count will go to 0-1. Price, the junior, on the year, 19 hits, 12 of those being singles. She's got 5 doubles and 3 triples as well. She does have a team-leading 23 RBI on the season and an average of .297, on-base percentage of .416. This Clarinda roster, from top to bottom, can hit the ball pretty well. We've seen it time and time again this season. Stevie Wilmus takes off for second, doesn't even have to slide. She's there in time. And the Cardinals now put a runner in scoring position over at second with just 1 out. A 1-1 count for Annika Price at the plate. Kirchhoff awaits a signal from the dugout. As Price takes time at the plate to reset, she didn't really like what she was seeing there. And the 1-1 from Kirchhoff to Price. It's in the dirt for a ball. Stevie Wilmus takes off. She'll be there in time. Wilmus, the throw, way overhead by Knuth. And Stevie Wilmus will end up at home after a stolen base and a missed throw to put a run on the board for the Cardinals and start scoring off here tonight. And that's one thing that neither of these teams can really afford to have tonight with the powerful bats that both of these squads have at the plate. It's important to eliminate as many errors as you can, play as cleanly as you possibly can to get those outs as quickly as you can, because they will make you pay. Both teams, and I'm saying that for both Atlantic and Clarinda tonight. The 2-1 misses for a ball, and the count goes to 3-1. Hitters count for Price. Now the 3-1 pitch. Low and inside for a ball 4. And Annika Price gives the Cardinals another base runner after Stevie Wilmus gets in on the score. For third baseman, Janessa Woolsey. Woolsey, the sophomore on the year, 22 hits. That's the team's second, 16 of those being singles. She's got 6 doubles as well. 19 RBI, hitting .319 on the season and getting on base .382% of the time. As she fouls one directly back into the fence. Price over on first after the walk. Here's the 0-1. In there for strike 2. Zoe Kirchhoff able to get up early on Woolsey. 0-2 in the count. Now the 0-2. This one's hit on, popped directly back, and it'll be grabbed by the catcher, Knuth, for out number 2. So a fly out for Janessa Woolsey. Brings up first baseman Addie Wagner. Wagner, the junior, on the year. 20 hits, 19 of those being singles. She's also got a home run. I was here on call for that one. She hit an inside the park home run against, I believe, Woodbine, as Kirchhoff forces strike 1 in on Wagner early. Wagner this year hitting .303, an on-base percentage of .378. As Kirchhoff's 0-1 pitch inside for a ball, and the count will even up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the 1-1. This one swung on and missed by Wagner. She goes down in the count. 1-2. Both of these teams, as of late, have been playing a lot of games, including a tournament there for Atlantic, Charles City, Mid-Prairie, Clarksville. They were able to get wins against Charles City and Mid-Prairie. They did lose to Clarksville 5-4. as Kirchhoff gets strike 3 in on Addie Wagner, and that's how the inning will come to an end. But not before Clarinda is able to get a 1-0 lead on the base running of Stevie Wilmus. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this. Welcome back here into Clarinda. We're set to begin the top of the second, where Atlantic set to bat their 5, 6, and 7 hitters. Dylan Ball, the right fielder, steps up to the plate first for the Trojans. In case you're just joining us, the Cardinals were able to get a run in there in the bottom of the first after Stevie almost got hit by a pitch, and then the rest was up to her base running. She made it all the way around on a couple steals and an error to give the Cardinals an early 1-0 lead. Mallory Woods there in the first inning gave up 1 hit to Lila Wiederstein. Other than that, got the 3 outs the Cardinal defense needed. She goes up in the count early, though, 0-2 on Dylan Ball. Ball, a freshman, 34 hits on the year, 27 singles, 7 doubles, 21 RBI, and hitting an average of .415 and on-base percentage of .478. This one she hits into right, where it will drop for a base hit. Dylan Ball gives the Trojans their second base runner of the afternoon, the leadoff hitter, or a leadoff base runner for this inning, on what is their second hit of the evening.
Now to bat, number 15, Peyton McLaren.
Peyton McLaren, the shortstop, steps up to the plate. McLaren, a sophomore on the year, 27 hits, 12 singles, 12 doubles, 2 triples, and 1 home run. And she lays down a perfect bunt. Kaylee Smith is able to make the play over at first, so a sacrifice bunt for McLaren. Moves Ball from first over to second. But again, good awareness there by catcher Kaylee Smith to get up quickly and make the throw over to first for out number 1. Now Claire Schroeder, the third baseman, steps up to the plate. Schroeder, a junior on the year, 21 hits. She's hitting an average of .288, on-base percentage of .404. She's got a home run of her own and 12 RBI on the season. Now the 0-1 from Woods is inside for a ball, and the count will even up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Here is the 1-1 pitch from Woods. Swung on and missed by Schroeder. Now we've got a moving base runner as Dylan Ball able to move on the throwback. And that puts a base runner now in at third with 1 out for the Trojans. So a possible sacrifice opportunity now for the Atlantic Trojans to maybe knot this one back up. But Mallory Woods does have a 1-2 count over Schroeder. Here is the 1-2 pitch in there for strike 3, a big strikeout for Mallory Woods as she gets out number 2 now here in the top of the second. And Jillian Satoff, the first baseman, steps up to the plate. Satoff, on the year, the sophomore, 17 hits. She's got a .239 average and a .308 on-base percentage. This one she hits directly to Janessa Woolsey over at third, who makes the snag for out number 3, and that's how the top of the second comes to a close. So Atlantic leaves another one stranded over on third as we go to the bottom of the second. 1-0, Clarinda leads it. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this.
Sure what you want to do with your life? Feel like your job is at a standstill? Get your foot in the door with area manufacturing companies at Iowa Western Community College's SEAM program. Sign up now in the Center of Excellence for Advanced Manufacturing through IWCC. Classes are just 2 early evenings a week with holidays and summers off. Improve your current skills and learn new ones that will give you a new career or even enhance your current one. For more information on SEAM, contact IWCC's Clarinda Center at 712-542-5117.
Your engine to power through the toughest conditions? Then you need John Deere Plus 52 engine oil. Built for extreme environments, Plus 52 gives your engine the protection it deserves and keeps it running at peak performance. Right now, you can save big at AgriVision Equipment. During the month of February, get 10% off select packaged oil and 15% off filters. It's the perfect time to stock up. Don't wait. This offer ends on 2/28/25. Stop by AgriVision Equipment or visit agrivisionequipment.com today.
Welcome back here into Clarinda. We're set to begin the bottom of the second. Zoe Kirchhoff set to begin her second inning in the circles. This time around, she'll be facing the 6, 7, 8 hitters of Clarinda. And then if anyone gets on the 9-hitter, Kaylee Smith will come up with the 6, 7, 8. Ellie Nelson, Mallory Woods, and Maddie Cole. So like I said, Ellie Nelson, the second baseman, at the plate to start things off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the second. They were able to get a score in on Stevie Wilmus's base running ability after getting hit by a pitch there in the bottom of the first. As Nelson fouls one directly back. Nelson has been an addition for this Cardinal team. It's been dealing with some injuries. Sophomore Brent Isaacson, senior Jersey Knight, both dealing with separate injuries they're trying to get over, and we wish them the best speedy recovery. But Ellie Nelson has been one of the step-up players for the Cardinals. She's been playing second base this year. She's got 13 hits, 9 of those being singles, 4 doubles. She's got a .342 average and a .390 on-base percentage, so a nice addition to the varsity lineup. She does find herself down 0-2 in the count to Kirchhoff. The 0-2 swung on and missed by Nelson. She goes down on strikes, and Atlantic gets the first out early here in the bottom of the second.
Now to bat, number 24, Mallory Woods.
Mallory Woods, the pitcher, steps up to the plate. We've got some pitcher-on-pitcher action here. Kirchhoff's first pitch to Woods misses for a ball. Mallory Woods on the year has 14 hits, .255 average, and a .293 on-base percentage for the Cardinals. 1-0. Misses high for a ball, and the count moves to 2-0. It's a little toasty here tonight in Clarinda. After this game was supposed to be going on last night, but rain all day. It ended up raining a little bit into the night as well. Caused it to be postponed here to tonight, where the sun is beating down, but it's also, there's a nice little breeze coming through every once in a while. It feels pretty nice. So the count to Woods is 2-1, by the way, from Kirchhoff. Here's the 2-1 pitch. This one's hit on by Woods, fouled out of play. Looks like into the baseball field next to us, which, by the way, tonight, Clarinda Atlantic baseball match. I believe it's Clarinda Atlantic. I should double check on that, but It is Clarinda Atlantic, by the way, over there on the baseball field. As Kirchhoff gets a strikeout on Mallory Woods for out number 2 here in the bottom of the second.
Number 10, Maddie Cole.
So 3 straight strikeouts leading back into the end of last inning for Kirchhoff. And the Trojans are working with 2 outs and nobody on. Maddie Cole, the center fielder, steps up to the plate. Kirchhoff forces a strike in on the lefty Cole. Maddie Cole, a junior on the year, 15 hits. She's got an average of 254, an on-base percentage of 405. Here is the 0-1 in the dirt for a ball, and the count evens out at 1-1. One ball, 1 strike is the count. Here's the pitch from Kirchhoff to Cole. Low and away for a ball. Here is the 2-1 pitch. Swung on a missed by Cole, and the count will even out at 2-2. Elsewhere, the rest of this week for KMA, I believe we only have 2 more games left this week, and they are the Corner Conference Championship games, both of those being on Friday. I'll have the call of the Corner Conference Championship softball game at 5:30. And then Dusty Scahill and I will be on the call for the baseball game at 7:30 as Maddie Cole goes down on strikes. 3 up, 3 down, 3 strikeouts there for Kirchhoff in that inning as we go to the top of the third where it's still 1-0. Clarinda leads it. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this.
You dream about living in the country? Make your dream a reality with specialized lending from Rural First. Whether you want an acreage to build your dream home or a wide open space for your kids to play, Rural First has the financing to get you closer to what matters. Visit ruralfirst.com. NMLS IDs 407249, 579135, and 628123. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to eligibility and approval.
Salvage in Bartlett is no stranger to the ups and downs of owning and operating a small business. But no matter how much changes on their end, there's one thing that will always stay the same for their customers. It's cash. Call for the best scrap metal prices in the area and go ahead and test their unloading times. Then, when all is said and done, that's right, leave with cash. J-Dog Salvage, Bartlett, Iowa, 402-290-3124. That's 402-290-3124.
Welcome back into Clarinda. Sorry about that. We're down in the count already. Olivia Knuth finds herself down 1-2, the catcher tonight for the Trojans. Mallory Woods is up 1-2 pitch. Misses for a ball, and everything will even out at 2 balls, 2 strikes. By the way, Atlantic hitting their 9-1-2 hitters, Olivia Knuth, and then McKenna Schrader and McKenna Sontag will be up. And then if anybody gets on, Lila Wiederstein, the designated player who had a single there in the first inning, will come up next. As Knuth will end up on first with a... She thought it was a dead ball hit by pitch. The umpire calls her back. And now shows a full count signal. I don't know. I'm not sure where the... my guess is it hit the ground. I didn't see the pitch cleanly anyway. The full count pitch is fouled off by Knuth, so we'll have another full count pitch coming up here in just a second. I'm not exactly sure what Knuth got called back for, but regardless, she finds herself in a full count situation. And now facing it again. Here's the full count pitch again. This one is hit directly to third baseman Janessa Woolsey, who does make the play cleanly at first for out number 1 here in the top of the third. And now McKenna Schrader, the center fielder, steps up to the plate for the second time here tonight. Schrader popped out to center there in her first at-bat. Now working with 1 out and nobody on. And a 1-0 deficit. Schrader looks to lay down a bunt, but it goes foul. As the count moves to 0-1. So far, Mallory Woods has given up just the 2 hits to McKenna Sontag and Dylan Ball. But the Clarinda defense has left those runners stranded on third both innings that happened as well. After the foul tip bunt, Schrader watches the ball go by. Here's the 1-1. This one is hit fouled directly back into the fence. And the count will move to a 1-2. This is a big opportunity here for the Atlantic leadoff. Schrader to maybe spark some offense here at the top of the third with 1 out, but you're at the top of your order. Now the 1-2 pitch. This one's hit on by Schrader. It's back directly to Mallory Woods, who makes a stop. And the throw over to first for out number 1. A great stop there, by the way, from pitcher Mallory Woods, who stuck her glove out and knocked it down.
Now to bat, number 1, McKenna Sontag.
And now with 2 outs, McKenna Sontag, the 2-hitter, steps up to the plate for Atlantic. Sontag, the second baseman tonight for the Trojans. She grounded out to Janessa Woolsey over at third there in her first at-bat. Woolsey, by the way, was the one who just called that time to either tie her shoe or do something with it. Here's the first pitch to Sontag. It's high and away for a ball. If you're just joining us, Clarinda was able to get their sole run there in the bottom of the first, and a Stevie Wilmus, she got hit by a pitch and then made it all the way around by herself. As Sontag fouls one directly back into the fence, and the count evens out at 1-1. Here is the 1-1 pitch. This one's hit on by Sontag. It'll be popped up into second, where Ellie Nelson makes the grab for out number 3, and that's how we go to the bottom of the third, where Clarinda will hit their 9-1-2. Kaylee Smith, Riley Maher, and Stevie Wilmus. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this.
Ready to grow your future with a bank that truly cares? Welcome to Malvern Bank, where we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors, your friends, and your partners in success. At Malvern Bank, we specialize in ag loans that help our local farmers thrive. Whether you're planting seeds for the future or expanding your current operations, we've got the financing solutions to help your farm flourish. So why wait? Visit us today and see how Malvern Bank can make a difference in your life. Together, let's grow our future. Malvern Bank, we build community. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Nutrient Ag Solutions takes the responsibility of growing seriously. As a leader in the ag sector, they provide their customers with complete agriculture solutions, including nutrients, crop protection products, seed, service, and digital tools for optimum customer success. Talk with Nutrient Ag Solutions in Westboro, Coyne, Percival, and Essex. Nutrient Ag Solutions, transforming agriculture and feeding the future.
Welcome back here into Clarinda. We're set to begin the bottom of the third, where Clarinda will bat their 9-1-2 hitters. Kaylee Smith, Riley Maher, and Stevie Wilmus. Smith, the catcher, steps up to the plate for the first time here tonight. And what is a relatively young roster for the Cardinals. I mean, Smith being the only senior in the starting lineup. That being said, Jersey Knight also a senior for the Cardinal softball team, but she's dealing with an injury right now to her thumb. As Smith fouls one back out of play, and the count goes to 0-1. Here is the 0-1 pitch. Slowing inside for a ball, and it'll even things out at 1-1. Clarinda going to try and put some pressure on the Trojans here. They do have a 1-0 lead, but I'm sure they'd love to extend that here a little bit in the bottom of the third, about the halfway point of the ball game. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Kirchhoff to Smith. Smith hits this one. It'll find a gap for a base hit, and Kaylee Smith with the leadoff single for the Cardinals gives them a base runner. For the top of the order, Riley Maher. Kaylee Smith, by the way, will get a courtesy runner, being the catcher. It looks like it'll be number 11, which is Ellery Bird, the 8th grader. Now over on first as a courtesy runner for the catcher, Kaylee Smith.
Now up to bat, number 17, Riley Maher.
Maher steps up to the plate for the second time here tonight. She flew out to third there in her first at-bat. This one, she makes contact on. It'll go into shallow center, grabbed by the shortstop. That's Peyton McLaren, who makes the grab for out number 1. It also leaves Ellery Bird over on first, so the Cardinals give up kind of a pointless out there as Stevie Wilmus, the left fielder, comes up to the plate.
Number 14, Stevie Wilmus.
Wilmus scored the only run of the game so far tonight. She got hit by pitch there in her first at-bat. She looks to show bunt. She lays one down. It goes to third baseman Claire Schroeder, who makes the stop and throw over at first for out number 2, but Stevie Wilmus does her job, and that is move Ellery Bird from first over to second. Puts a runner in scoring position now for the Cardinals, but they're working with 2 outs. So you're really going to have to rely on the bat of your shortstop, Annika Price, your 3-hitter, who, you know, if there's anybody on this roster you'd probably want to leave that to, Price would be that. She's got, I believe, she's got to have one of the top times on this varsity squad. She's been around on this varsity squad for a couple years now. She goes down in the count 0-1 early. So again, Ellery Bird over on first, or excuse me, second in scoring position, but 2 outs for the Cardinals. The 0-1 inside for a ball. And at the knees of Price, so that'll even things out at 1 ball and 1 strike. Kirkhoff trying to get Atlantic out of this situation with a runner in scoring position as she awaits her signal from the dugout. She gets it, and Price steps back into the box, excuse me. Here's the 1-1. This one's hit on by Price over the head of second baseman Sontag. That'll drop, go all the way to the fence for a base hit and more. A double for Annika Price, an RBI double as well as Ellery Bird gets in for the score, and Clarinda extends their lead 2-0 here in the bottom of the third.
Now to bat, number 41, Janessa Woolsey.
An RBI double for Annika Price extends that Cardinal lead to now 2-0. And third baseman Janessa Woolsey steps up to the plate with a runner on second still. Woolsey fouls this one directly back into the fence. And now if you're Zoe Kirkhoff in this situation, you got to just understand that that was a good piece of hitting there by the shortstop, Annika Price. So you got to let that one go and focus on the batter here at Janessa Woolsey. And that's what she's doing. She gets up in the count 0-2 early on a changeup there that found its way into the strike zone. Now the 0-2. This one's hit on, fouled in almost at the dugout of the visiting Atlantic Trojans, but it'll stay at an 0-2 count. Price still over on second with 2 outs and an 0-2. Here's the pitch from Kirkhoff. This one's inside, but swung on, contact made by Woolsey. Hit directly to first baseman Satov, who makes the play over at first for out number 3. And there is the home plate umpire had something to say there to the Atlantic head coach, but nonetheless, that's how the inning will end. Clarinda extends their lead now 2-0 here. We go to the top of the fourth. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this.
You dream about living in the country? Make your dream a reality with specialized lending from Rural First. Whether you want an acreage to build your dream home or a wide open space for your kids to play, Rural First has the financing to get you closer to what matters. Visit ruralfirst.com. NMLS IDs 407249, 579135, and 628123. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to eligibility and approval.
Agricultural business majors at Northwest Missouri State University gain the knowledge and the experiences of agriculture as well as business foundations. Northwest's faculty focuses on 4 core areas: agricultural finance, agricultural marketing, agricultural policy, and economics of agricultural production. Career opportunities in this field at Northwest include agricultural sales representative, grain merchandising, agricultural lender, operations manager, and claims adjuster. Find out more about an agricultural business major at Northwest Missouri State University.
No one succeeds alone. It takes support to get there, sacrifices made by others, wisdom learned and passed on. When your business is agriculture, you dedicate your life to supporting community, doing the hard work that helps all of us thrive. It's why at PCSB, we believe in supporting you. Your success makes our community succeed. PCSB, we believe in you. Visit us online at wearepcsb.com. Member FDIC.
With a chronic respiratory condition, Rogers Pharmacy can provide what you need. Rogers Pharmacy offers a full line of respiratory equipment like oxygen, BiPAP, CPAP, and nebulizers. Rogers Pharmacy isn't a big box pharmacy where you may have to wait for days and weeks to get what you need. They're a full-service, independent, family-owned pharmacy, and they go above and beyond to offer you the quality service and products you deserve. See Rogers Pharmacy in Tarkio, Maryville, Mound City, St. Joseph, and Stanberry, Missouri. Visit Rogers Pharmacy online at rogersrx.com.
Welcome back into Clarinda after a short mandatory water break here because of the temperature being as hot as it is here and as muggy as it is here tonight in Clarinda. All that rain that came through the KMA land area over the last couple days has really impacted the humidity, and Don't think we're done with it, though, for the rest of the week. There is a chance for some storms over the next couple days as well in the KMA area. Mallory Woods again in the circle for the Cardinals. She'll be facing the three-hitter of Atlantic, Lila Wiederstein. Wiederstein had a single there in her first at-bat. She made it all the way to third where she got stranded. And the Trojans are going to look to put something on the board here. Obviously, you can't win any games with a goose egg on the board, so that's step number one, is getting rid of that. As Wiederstein finds herself tied up in the count 1-1. This one she hits on. It's going to find a gap for another base hit. Lila Wiederstein, 2 for 2 on the day with 2 singles to start her evening, is a leadoff base runner now for the Trojans and the 4-hitter Zoe Kirchhoff.
Now to bat, number 3, Zoe Kirchhoff.
Kirchhoff, the pitcher, has an opportunity to make tonight a little bit easier for herself in the circle if she can put one far enough and put the Trojans in scoring opportunity. This one she hits on foul into the fence, and the count goes to 0-1. We're now entering the top of the 4th again, like I said, here in Clarinda. Lila Wiederstein over on first for the Trojans with no outs. The 0-1, Kirchhoff hits this one into left. It will be grabbed by Stevie Wilmus. What a nice layout grab. She tries to make the throw over to first, but Wiederstein able to get back in time. A diving grab there from left fielder Stevie Wilmus to prevent some damage there from Atlantic. A nice grab there from Wilmus. Kirchhoff will go out on the fly out to left. And Dylan Ball, the right fielder, steps up to the plate. Ball had a single there in her first at-bat. Wiederstein takes off. She will get there in time. And that puts a runner in scoring position now with 1 out for the Trojans. So if Ball can put this one into the outfield like she did in her last at-bat, that's a good opportunity, a very likely situation that Wiederstein will get in on for the score. Mallory Woods, 1-0 pitch. This one's hit foul directly back. And the count will even up at 1-1. One ball, 1 strike is the count for Mallory Woods and Dylan Ball. 1 out and a runner on second for the Trojans. Ball hits this one. It'll go to second baseman Ellie Nelson, who makes a stop and throw over at first for the out. But Ball does move Wiederstein from second over to third. But now with 2 outs, it eliminates any sacrifice type of plays at the plate here for Peyton McLaren, the shortstop. McLaren in her first at-bat tried to lay down a bunt and was thrown out at first on a fielder's choice. As she now has a runner in scoring position over at third with Wiederstein. If she can end up putting the ball in play and getting on first, a very good chance that the Trojans will play to run. The 1-0 is in there for a strike, and it'll even things out at 1-1. Here is the 1-1 pitch. This one is hit on. It's going to go to third baseman Janessa Woolsey, who makes a stop, and the throw makes it look easy over there at the third base position for out number 3. Atlantic leaves another runner stranded over on third. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Clarinda leads it 2-0 here on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com. I'm Tate Namey. We'll be back right after this.
You dream about living in the country? Make your dream a reality with specialized lending from Rural First. Whether you want an acreage to build your dream home or a wide open space for your kids to play, Rural First has the financing to get you closer to what matters. Visit ruralfirst.com. NMLS IDs 407249, 579135, and 628123. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to eligibility and approval.
This is Sid with Schaff Ag near Trainer. I'm learning all of the ins and outs of agronomy with my dad, Shane. I've learned that Pioneer seed is second to none and that they back that up with proven products and yields. I've also learned that if our customers have a question or a concern, we'll work until we figure out the answer or solution. I'm learning all of this because at Schaff Ag, we've made a commitment, and that commitment is our family helping yours. Call Shane at 712-520-1333.
We're through 3.5 here in Clarinda, and the Cardinals have a 2-0 lead over the Atlantic Trojans after Atlantic was able to get a win earlier this season against the Cardinals 4-2. The Cardinals trying to even up the score and get another win here in Hawkeye 10 play. Kirchhoff will be facing Addie Wagner, the 5-hitter. Wagner pops one directly up to shortstop McLaren, Peyton McLaren that is able to get underneath of it for the grab and out number 1 here in the bottom of the fourth. Ellie Nelson, the second baseman, steps up to the plate for the second time tonight. Nelson struck out there in the second inning. I was went over some of the Atlantic's more recent games. As for the Cardinals this week, or the last 5 games, they were able to get wins over East Mills, Red Oak, Harlan twice, and then also in their last 5 games was that Atlantic game where they dropped it 4-2. So other than that Atlantic loss, they were 4-1 there in their last 5. As Kirchhoff has an 0-1 count on Ellie Nelson. Nelson pops another one back and foul to even out the count. Or not even it out, excuse me. It goes to 0-2. Now an 0-2 pitch with 1 out for the Cardinals from Kirchhoff to Ellie Nelson. The 0-2 is high for a ball, and the count moves to 1-2. Taking a look ahead at some of the Cardinals' future games this weekend. Well, actually, tomorrow they'll have to face Creston here at Clarinda. That'll be a big matchup. Again, always is. They've still got 2 games against Creston, one this week, one next Thursday, as Kirchhoff forces strike 3 in on Ellie Nelson to get out number 2 here in the bottom of the fourth. As I was saying, a couple more matchups for Creston for the Cardinals, but on Monday they take on Lewis Central. That's a doubleheader at Lewis Central. They also next week get matchups against Lennox, a doubleheader against Denison Schleswig, and then they end off their Hawkeye 10 conference season at Creston. This one's hit on by Mallory Woods. The pitcher gets the Cardinals their first base runner of the night here in the fourth, bottom of the fourth, not of the night. As that's another hit for the Cardinals. That is just their 3rd base hit on the evening, and Mallory Woods will get a courtesy runner. It looks like it's number 16.
Now to bat, number 10, Maddie Cole.
Number 16, Hadley Miller, over at first as a courtesy runner for the pitcher, Mallory Woods. Maddie Cole, the lefty, steps up to the plate with 2 outs and a runner on. This one's hit on by Cole, fouled directly back. Should go down in the count 0-1. Taking a look ahead at Atlantic's schedule. They still have quite a few games to go, but not quite as many Hawkeye 10 games. They've got a doubleheader against Red Oak at Atlantic, and then that is actually their last Hawkeye 10 matchup. So after today's game, they will have 2 more games against Red Oak, And that will be all for the Trojans conference record. They also get some games in against Dowling Catholic, Bishop Heelan, ADM, Trainer, Sioux City East, all very solid schools around the KMA area and beyond. Especially their ADM, Dowling Catholic, Bishop Heelan. That's a tough 3 games. And then, Trainer also being able to field a really good softball team this year. Sioux City East, always solid. As Kirchhoff has a 1-2 pitch on Matty Cole. Here it is. This one's hit on by Cole to go to shortstop Peyton McLaren, who does make the play at first for out number 3. And that is how the 4th inning will come to a close. The Cardinals keep their lead at 2-0 as we go to the 5th inning. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this.
Shenandoah Medical Center, in collaboration with MD West 1, provides the most comprehensive orthopedic care in our region. Whether you have pain stemming from an athletic injury or overuse, you will have immediate access to high-quality orthopedic care. My name is Michael Delcor, and I am an orthopedic surgeon specializing in the upper extremity. Whatever the case, I will work with you to determine the best treatment plan. For more information about our extensive orthopedic coverage, simply call 712-246-7400.
TNT Ford outside Red Oak will have you taking notice. Sure, the name and logo are nice, but those trucks, and more trucks are guaranteed to catch your eye. And Ag Country trucks aren't just about convenience, they're part of the operation. And the sales team at TNT Ford can help you find and finance the right Ford truck to take you from to-do to done with efficiency. Plus, their service team has the know-how to keep your truck at its best. New name, new experience. TNT Ford just east of Red Oak and anytime at TNTFord.com.
Welcome back here into Clarinda. The sun really starting to go down a little bit here as we have hit almost the 8:30 mark. The Cardinals have a 2-0 lead over Atlantic here as we get set to begin the top of the 5th. The Trojans running out of outs to work with quickly here, so they'd like to get something going as quickly as they possibly can, and here's an opportunity possibly for them to do so as 7, 8, 9 hitters Claire Schroeder, Peyton Satoff, and Olivia Knuth all step up to the plate, and then if any of them get on, McKenna Schrader, the center fielder, and the top of the order for the Trojans will come up to the plate. But by the way, Claire Schroeder, the third baseman, is at the plate right now for the Trojans. You watch a strike 1 go by. She did strike out there in the second inning. She has been Mallory Woods' only strikeout victim so far here tonight, but Woods able to get up in the count 0-2 early on Schroeder again. The 0-2. This one is hit on. It's going to find a gap for a base hit. And leadoff single there for Claire Schroeder to get things started for Atlantic, the 7-hitter. Giving a base runner early to the Trojans, and Jillian Satoff steps up to the plate now.
Now to bat, number 14, Jillian
Satoff flew out to third there in her last at-bat. Back in the second inning. She's got a runner on first with no outs. And the Trojans looking for a big opportunity here to maybe plate some runs. Satoff looks to bunt. She fouls one back. This Clarinda team definitely still, sitting at 7-1 in the conference right now. A solid record with that loss just being to this Atlantic team was really, really solid. But with that being said, the Cardinals still working with a lot of doubleheaders coming up ahead against future Hawkeye 10 opponents, and that could cause some issues as this one is hit on by Satoff for another base hit, and that puts runners on first and second, back-to-back singles for the Trojans, puts two base runners on, the most that they've had at any point here tonight. Olivia Knuth, the catcher, steps up to the plate. Knuth, the 9-hitter for the Trojans, looking to keep things going and turn it to the top of the order with no outs. Knuth lays down a bunter to go to Mallory Woods, who makes the play at first, but Knuth does her job. Moves Satoff over to second and moves Schroeder all the way to third with one out in the top of the order. Due up next for the Trojans. McKenna Schrader steps up to the plate and actually we're going to have a courtesy runner in, or actually it wouldn't be a courtesy runner because that is Jillian Satoff, the first baseman, coming off, so that means it is a pinch runner in.
Now to bat, number 7, McKenna Schrader.
I didn't catch the number there for the pinch runner over on second, but I'll catch it here in just a moment. Woods' first pitch to Schrader. Schrader looks to bunt, pulls back, and then a called ball. She goes up in the count 1-0. Abigail Anderson, by the way, is the pinch runner over on second for Satoff, so that now maybe some speed on the bases for the Trojans. No offense to Jillian Satoff. Not saying she doesn't have any speed, just saying for a pinch runner must have some sort of speed to move around the bases. Is Schrader up in the count 2-0 early. Schrader watches ball 3 go by. So now the 3-0 pitch. This is a big one for Mallory Woods. 3-0 in there for a strike. Schrader thought she was heading to first on a walk, but home plate umpire calls her back and says it's a called strike. Now the 3-1. This one's hit on by Schrader. It goes to shortstop, Annika Price, who can't field it cleanly. A run will score for the Trojans, and Schrader will reach first safely. Here's the deal, is that Schroeder was going to score regardless there. She was running on contact. She was going to get in no matter what, but I think that Price maybe could have made a play over at first if she didn't fumble with it there. I'm interested to see what the Cardinals game changer will say at the end of the game, if they'll rule that one an error or a single. I think I'll rule it an error. And now Clarinda going to have a quick talk with their infield, bring it all in, because now they're in a situation with runners on first and third on the corners as Anderson's over at third. Again, Anderson, the courtesy runner for Satoff. And then Schrader now at first for the Trojans. McKenna Sontag steps up to the plate. Sontag has popped up and grounded out so far in this one. She shows bunt. She pulls back, called strike, and Schrader will take second with no contest. Puts two runners in scoring position now for the Trojans on second and third with one out. Here's the 0-1. This one misses for a ball, and it'll even things out at 1-1. And Atlantic in a really good situation right now. Clarinda pitcher Mallory Woods trying to find her way out of it. Here's the 1-1. This one is hit on by Sontag. It'll go foul. Way out of play. And the count will move to 1-2 strikes. A nice breeze is coming in through the press box here as the sun almost completely set. Here's the 1-2. This one's hit on by Sontag. It'll go foul down the third base line. If the count will remain at 1-2. Here's the 1-2. Again, this one is hit on by Sontag into center. Maddie Cole tracking. She makes the grab for the out, but the runners will advance. So a sacrifice fly for McKenna Sontag evens things up on the scoreboard as Anderson able to get in for a score. Schrader moves over to third.
Now to bat, number 36, Lila Wiederstein.
So sacrifice pop out there for McKenna Sontag, gives her an RBI. And now the designated player, Lila Wiederstein, who has 2 singles so far in this matchup, steps up to the plate. She watches strike 1 go by. 2 outs now for the Trojans, so that does eliminate any sacrifice plays here for Atlantic, but I'm sure they trust the bat of Lila Wiederstein because so far tonight, she's got 2 base hits. She watches ball 1 go by, and the count evens out at 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Woods to Lila Wiederstein. Wiederstein hits this one on into center field, deep into center field. Maddie Cole tracking, over the fence, gone. Lila Wiederstein extends the Trojan lead now 4-2, actually gives the Trojans a lead now as they take it 4-2. Let's see, that is Wiederstein's 7th home run on the season this year for the Trojans. That's a team leading by 5. The dominant batter that is Lila Wiederstein comes up clutch here in the top of the 5th and gives the Trojans their first lead of the evening.
Now to bat, number 3, Zoe Kirchhoff.
Zoe Kirchhoff, the pitcher, steps up to the plate with the bases being cleared and 2 outs. And Wiederstein got every bit of that one because it went directly over the center field wall. Maddie Cole turned her head as quickly as she possibly could, was headed straight back for the wall, and just too much power from Wiederstein for Cole to be able to track it. Zoe Kirchhoff, the pitcher at the plate. This one, she pops up into right. Riley Maher tracking it down, makes the grab. And that's how the inning will end, but not before Atlantic gets out to a 4-2 lead. This is a situation we've seen these teams in before, by the way, this year. Atlantic won the last matchup 4-2 in Atlantic. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this.
Our name says it all. We're Total Farm Solutions. This is Eric with TFS, and when it comes to your operation, we want to be your total partner in and out of the field. We're your Pioneer seed dealer, along with bulk options and seed treatments. And we study genetics, offering scouting and agronomic solutions. Taking care of our customer is part of our total service. We're Total Farm Solutions. Give us a call or find our office just outside of Carson.
Your engine to power through the toughest conditions? Then you need John Deere Plus 52 engine oil. Built for extreme environments, Plus 52 gives your engine the protection it deserves and keeps it running at peak performance. Right now, you can save big at AgriVision Equipment. During the month of February, get 10% off select packaged oil and 15% off filters. It's the perfect time to stock up. Don't wait. This offer ends on 2/28/25. Stop by AgriVision Equipment or visit agrivisionequipment.com today.
You dream about living in the country? Make your dream a reality with specialized lending from Rural First. Whether you want an acreage to build your dream home or a wide open space for your kids to play, Rural First has the financing to get you closer to what matters. Visit ruralfirst.com. NMLS IDs 407249, 579135, and 628123. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to eligibility and approval.
Welcome back here into Clarinda. Kaylee Smith, the 9-hitter, steps up to the plate, but her tenure there ends pretty quickly as she pops one up directly to the first baseman of Atlantic. That's Sadetoff, who makes the grab for out number 1.
Now to bat, number 17, Riley Maher.
And now the top of the order for the Cardinals steps up to the plate, Riley Maher, as the Cardinals had led this one all the way through the first 4 innings, but then a 4-run top of the 5th for the Trojans gave them a lead, and part of that came with a Lila Wiederstein 2-run blast over the center field wall. Maher goes up in the count, 1-0 early. Here's the 1-0 pitch. This one hit on by Maher. It'll go foul, out of play. By the way, as well, in that top of the 5th, McKenna Sontag also added a run with a sacrifice fly out to center field. And then the Trojans were able to plate another one on an error. Maher fouls another one, and the count goes to 1-2. This one's hit up by Maher. It'll go into center field where the grab is made by Schrader for out number 2. And now in a situation where Clarinda was in control, things get a little bit interesting where Atlantic now feels like they have the upper hand with a 2-run lead and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Stevie Wilmus steps up to the plate. Wilmus watches ball 1 go by. This one's hit on by Wilmus. It'll go directly to third baseman Schroeder, who makes the play at first for out number 3, and that's how the 5th inning will end. We go to the top of the 6th now. Atlantic leads at 4-2. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this.
Is believing. That's what you'll hear from customers that choose Barrett Auto Center of Glenwood time and time again. Barrett customers come in for vehicles and service work, but they come back for conversation and honest advice. They want one of the largest pre-owned and fully serviced inventories in KMA land, and they return when they've gone elsewhere and it just isn't the same. See and believe for yourself how little differences add up to a better car buying experience. Come back to Barrett's and Barrett'sAutoCenter.com.
Welcome back here into Clarinda. The Trojans set to begin their top of the 6th now, as Dylan Ball will start things off. She fouls one out of play. It goes down in the count 0-1. Dylan Ball, by the way, had a single there in her first at-bat. In the 2nd inning, she was able to get all the way around to 3rd where she got stranded. Looked like Atlantic was having some struggles there, stranding runners on 3rd, and then the top of the 5th happened where the Trojans were able to plate 4 runs as Dylan Ball ends up on first with another base hit tonight. This one a single into right. Gives the Trojans a leadoff base runner again here tonight, and Peyton McLaren. McLaren, the shortstop, steps up to the plate. McLaren hits one foul, goes down in the count 0-1. If you're just joining us, by the way, Clarinda had led this game all the way up until the top of the fifth. They led it 2-0 after scoring a run in the bottom of the first and scoring another one there in the bottom of the third. But then a very strong top of the fifth for the Trojans gave them the lead, and now the Cardinals defense going to look to hold the Atlantic offense scoreless and get back to the bats and get something going with a couple outs to work with. I'm thinking they were looking at a check swing there. And the umpire down the first baseline says she went. I don't know if Atlantic head coach Terry Hinsman having a long conversation there with the home plate umpire, but nothing really happens, and the count goes to 0-2. 0-2, no outs, and a runner on first for the Trojans. The 0-2 outside for a ball, and the count will move to 1-2. Not a bad idea there from Woods, trying to work the outside bit of the zone, see if she can catch McLaren reaching on something down with 2 strikes. Now a 1-2 pitch. This one's hit on into left, grabbed by Stevie Wilmus in left field for out number 1. And now Claire Schroeder, the third baseman, steps up to the plate. Schroeder had a single there in her last at-bat. She was able to get around and score a run for the Trojans. As the first pitch to Schroeder is fouled directly back for the 0-1 count. Again, Dylan Ball over on first after a leadoff single for the Trojans. Both these teams getting set for just 2 more weeks left of the regular season. Actually, not even that. There's the end of this week, next week, and then the postseason begins for just about everybody July 5th. That's next Saturday, so everything getting set to begin and really get underway here in just a week and a half. The 0-2 pitch from Woods to Schroeder. Schroeder pops this one up into right. Riley Maher getting underneath of it for the grab. And the Cardinals, after giving up the leadoff single, have 2 outs now and haven't allowed Dylan Ball from first to move anywhere.
Now to bat, number 14, Jillian Sadoff.
Jillian Sadoff, the first baseman, steps up to the plate. Sadoff also got on with a single there in her last at-bat. She was able to get around and score a run in the top of the 5th. Actually, she was the one who received a pinch runner there in the top of the 5th, and her pinch runner, which was Anderson, got around and scored. This one, Sadoff hits directly to third baseman Janessa Woolsey, who knocks it down and makes the play over at first for out number 3. And that's how the top of the 6th will come to a close. The Cardinals try and bring this game back to at least tied up here in the bottom of the 6th as they trail it 4-2. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this.
Reliable internet matters to you, and it matters to FMTC too. So what does reliable look like? At FMTC, reliable means 99% uptime. And if there's a problem, we measure resolution in minutes, not hours or days. You need bandwidth, and FMTC has it. Up to 1 gig. Our fiber internet offers equal download and upload speeds, in addition to being unlimited and reliable. FMTC Fiber, internet worth talking about.
Sure what you want to do with your life? Feel like your job is at a standstill? Get your foot in the door with area manufacturing companies at Iowa Western Community College's SEAM program. Sign up now in the Center of Excellence for Advanced Manufacturing through IWCC. Classes are just 2 early evenings a week with holidays and summers off. Improve your current skills and learn new ones that will give you a new career or even enhance your current one. For more information on SEAM, contact IWCC's Clarinda Center at 712-542-5117.
Welcome back here into Clarinda. We could have what could be a very exciting finish here in Clarinda as the Trojans have a 4-2 lead over the Clarinda Cardinals. And the Cardinals right now are sitting in a spot in their lineup where they are 100% okay being at. I mean, they're good at anywhere in their lineup because their lineup from top to bottom can hit the ball very well. But right now they're at their 3-4-5 spot, which is maybe some of the leadership on this team right now in Annika Price, Janessa Woolsey, and Addie Wagner. Price and Wagner both being juniors, multi-year starting juniors for this softball team. Is Price on the 1-0 count, hits one foul. It will drop in left. Again, foul. And the count will move to 1-1. It just takes one big hit from anyone in this roster. We saw it there on the Atlantic side of the ball. It just took them one big hit, and they got that with a Lila Wiederstein 2-run blast over the center field wall. That gave them the 4-2 lead. Same thing for Clarinda. You know, they have this powerful lineup. Just takes that one powerful hit, who realistically just about anyone on the team could give, and they're right back battling in this base softball game. Here's the 2-1. To Price. Price hits this one on. It'll go into right field, foul. And now it'll even things out at 2-2. And I'm sure that Clarinda here in the bottom of the 6th would love to get a leadoff hit from junior Annika Price. Here's the 2-2. This one hit on by Price. It'll drop in left for a base hit. Annika Price does give the Cardinals that leadoff single there. Puts a base runner on right away with no outs. And Janessa Woolsey, the third baseman, stepping up to the plate. Woolsey popped out to the catcher there in her first at-bat. She grounded out to first in her second. By the way, Price on the night now, 2 for 2. She's got a walk, and then she's got that double and single with an RBI as well. Woolsey hits this one fouled directly back out of play. And the count will move to 0-1. The Clarinda roster so far tonight has been very aggressive at the plate, swinging on early pitches often fouling them off as well, which allows you to kind of get time, get comfortable, get used to those pitches, and then eventually you'll find that one that you can lay out for a base hit. And that's what we just saw. Annika Price, I believe there in that battle, had a couple fouls and eventually gets a single out to left field as Kirchhoff's 0-1 pitch is way high for a ball. One ball, one strike is the count. Price over on first with no outs. Woolsey takes a swing at one, can't get contact, and goes down in the count, 1-2. It's going to be a big pitch here for Zoe Kirchhoff. This one's hit foul directly back by Woolsey, and now the count will stay at 1-2. The 4, 5, 6 due up for the Cardinals. Woolsey, Addie Wagner, and Ellie Nelson. Here's the 1-2. Outside for a ball, and it evens things up at 2-2. But still with Kirchhoff being able to get up in the count 0-2 early, or not 0-2, but get up in the count with 2 strikes early, it allows her to kind of work around the strike zone a little bit, see if you can get Woolsey to reach on anything. That's what I'd imagine. We'll see one more that's kind of outside the zone, trying to get Woolsey to reach. This one is in the zone, fouled directly back, out of play by Woolsey, and the count will remain at 2-2. We got another long battle going on between a pitcher and batter. Woolsey, I believe, fouls another one back. Count stays at 2-2. By the way, in case you were wondering, Varsity Bound has tracked all the games that these two teams have played against each other since 2009, and Atlantic has a dominant lead in the series, 35-5. But I believe Clarinda, actually they've split the last 4 with 2 wins each. So this one will determine who's been better the last couple years. As another fouled off pitch by Woolsey. I've lost count of fouls here in this at-bat, but I believe she's working with 5 or 6. As we get yet another 2-ball, 2-strike pitch. That pitch way high for a ball, and the count will move to full now. Puts the pressure on a little bit here for Zoe Kirchhoff and Janessa Woolsey, because Kirchhoff, you'd hate to walk a batter here and give the Cardinals 2 base runners, and especially lose that strikeout that you had 2 strikes out on early. Here's the 2-3-2. It's low in the dirt for a ball, and a big battle there from Janessa Woolsey. She battles off, keeps herself alive at the plate, hitting foul balls, and eventually ends up on first with a walk, which is just as successful for the Cardinals here as they get 2 base runners on now and no outs. Price will move over to second after the leadoff single. Woolsey over on first. Now Addie Wagner, the junior first baseman, steps up to the plate. Wagner popped out once in this one to short. She also struck out there in her first at-bat. Kirchhoff, by the way, this game, 5 strikeouts on the evening. As her first pitch in on Wagner is in there for a strike. No balls, 1 strike is the count. Runner on first and second for the Cardinals. The 0-1 outside, maybe a little low as well for a ball. And now with time kind of expiring here in this game, not as many outs to work with, the Cardinals are being a little bit more patient at the plate, not swinging necessarily at everything, and it's leading to a couple walks and watching a couple balls go by. But Kirchhoff able to force a strike hit on Wagner to get up in the count 1-2. And this is a big spot here for Kirchhoff after she got one up in the count 1-2 on Woolsey there in the last at-bat, but Woolsey was able to battle back and get on base with a walk. It's going to be important for Kirchhoff not to lose Wagner the same way. Here's the 1-2. Swung on, missed by Wagner, and the grab is made by Knuth for the strikeout. So strikeout number 6 there for Kirchhoff, as that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 6th.
Now to bat, number 8, Ellie Nelson.
Ellie Nelson, the second baseman, steps up to the plate. Nelson has fallen victim to Kirchhoff's strikeouts twice so far here tonight. By the way, the base runners were able to advance from first and second to second and third, so that puts 2 in scoring position now for the Cardinals. I'd assume on the little bobble there on the third strike, both took off and were able to steal. So stolen base for both Annika Price and Janessa Woolsey puts 2 runners in scoring position. Nelson Swings and misses at 1, and the count moves to 1-1. With 1 out, the sacrifice is still in play. If Nelson can pop this one up into the infield, or outfield, excuse me, or hit it hard enough towards the first baseline. She looks to lay down a bunt, but she pulls back for a called ball. And now with the sun completely down here in Clarinda, it is really nice out. Really cool and nice little breeze. On the 2-1 pitch to Ellie Nelson. Nelson looks to lay down a bunt. A nice grab over at third. That was Claire Schroeder, by the way. Here, let me lay this down for you. Nelson laid down a bunt that Schroeder was able to reach up and make the grab. Then she tried to make the throw over at third, seeing if she can catch Price off the bag. Price was able to get back in time, though. So there is 2 outs for the Cardinals, but they still do have runners on second and third. But with that second out, now it eliminates the sacrifice out, their sacrifice play. And a big out there, by the way, for Claire Schroeder and the Atlantic Trojans, as Kirchhoff forces strike 1 in on Mallory Woods. Woods got on in her last at-bat with a single. She's looking to do something similar here. If she can get on with a single here, it'd probably score 2 runs. Here's the 0-1 pitch into Mallory Woods. High and away for a ball, and the count will even up at 1-1. Tension's rising a little bit here as this game keeps getting closer and closer to. I mean, Clarinda only has 4 outs to work with. They've got to put 2 runs on. As Kirchhoff's 1-1 pitch in there into the strike zone. We found the low part of that zone for the second strike here this at bat. With 1-2. This one's hit on by Woods. Into right. It'll drop for a base hit. 1 run will score with Price. Woolsey rounds second, heads home, rounds third, heads home and scores. And a 2 RBI single there for the pitcher, Mallory Woods. Making it a little easier on herself there in the top of the 7th. Now she can kind of work her stuff and doesn't have to worry about, worst comes to worst. You are tied up. Mallory Woods will get a courtesy runner. That is Hadley Miller, but not before she gets a 2 RBI single to tie things up. Maddie Cole, the center fielder, steps up to the plate. The lefty. Cole grounded out there in her last at-bat. She struck out in her first. She watches ball 1 go low and away for the 1-0 count. Again, now Hadley Miller over on first after the Mallory Woods single. As the ball gets away from the catcher, Knuth, and Hadley Miller will take second on the pass ball. And now Atlantic head coach Terry Hinsman is going to come out and have a conversation with his infield and his pitcher, Zoe Kirchhoff. Let him know, we're still tied up. This is all right. We're just going to take things back from maybe where we were at the start of this game, knotted up at 0. Get out of this inning and get to your bats there in the top of the 7th. Maddie Cole steps in to the box with a 2-0 count. Kirchhoff forces a strike in on Cole, moves the count to 2-1. And again, a runner over on second for the Cardinals in scoring position, but with 2 outs. That's Hadley Miller, a courtesy runner for Mallory Woods. Here's the 2-1. Swung on and missed by Cole, and the count will even up at 2-2. And Zoe Kirchhoff trying to put this inning behind her with this pitch here. The 2-2 hit on by Maddie Cole, foul out of play. And it looks like we're going to have another big battle between pitcher-hitter. We've seen quite a few, at least in this inning alone. Janessa Woolsey had a battle out of a 1-2 count. Laid down like 6 foul balls. Eventually ended up on first with a walk. This one's hit on by Cole to go to the shortstop, Peyton McLaren. McLaren can't make the throw over at first. And that'll move runners to the corners now for the Cardinals. I'm going to rule that an infield single as Cole uses her speed to run out the throw from short. And now that brings up the 9-hitter, Kaylee Smith, with runners on the corners for the Cardinals. Again, Matt Miller over on third. Cole over on first. I'd imagine, by the way, Cole is going to be taking second as quickly as she possibly can here in this inning. We haven't really seen too much of the arm of Knuth so far tonight. And Cole will take off for second. Knuth won't even try it. And that'll put runners in scoring, 2 runners in scoring position now for the Cardinals on second and third for the 9-hitter, Kaylee Smith. Here's the 1-0. This one's hit on foul directly back. The count evens out at 1-1. Again, with the 2 outs, by the way, the sacrifice play is not available right now. Smith will have to wind up on first if the Cardinals want to play to run here and take a lead here at the bottom of the 6th. Here's the 1-1. This one hit on by Smith into left field. McLaren not having to move for it, makes the grab, and that's how the inning will come to an end. But not before the Cardinals are able to knot it up at 4 apiece. We go to the 7th inning now, where both teams trying to come away with another Hawkeye 10 win. Will it be Atlantic or will it be Clarinda? Find out here in just a few moments on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com.
Your engine to power through the toughest conditions? Then you need John Deere Plus 52 engine oil. Built for extreme environments, Plus 52 gives your engine the protection it deserves and keeps it running at peak performance. Right now, you can save big at AgriVision equipment. During the month of February, get 10% off select packaged oil and 15% off filters. It's the perfect time to stock up. Don't wait. This offer ends on 2/28/25. Stop by AgriVision Equipment or visit agrivisionequipment.com today.
You dream about living in the country? Make your dream a reality with specialized lending from Rural First. Whether you want an acreage to build your dream home or a wide open space for your kids to play, Rural First has the financing to get you closer to what matters. Visit ruralfirst.com. NMLS IDs 407249, 579135, and 628123. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to eligibility and approval.
Welcome back here into Clarinda. We've got an exciting 7th inning in store with us here today. We are knotted up at 4 apiece. The Cardinals were able to jump out to a 2-0 early lead here in this one with runs in the bottom of the 1st and bottom of the 3rd. But then Atlantic with a huge top of the 5th gave them a 4-2 lead. Well, now Clarinda strikes right back there in the bottom of the 6th. Mallory Woods had a 2 RBI single into right that really helped secure that, or helped tie it up, and now it looks like we actually have we may have a change of pitchers here. Let me double check. We do. Addison Woods, the sophomore now, will step into the circle to try and close out the game here tonight for the Cardinals. Again, Mallory Woods pitched the full first 6 as this one is hit on by Atlantic. A drop in left for a base hit. That's Olivia Knuth, by the way. Knuth, the catcher, ending up with a leadoff single to give the Trojans a base runner here at the top of the 7th. And now the Trojans as well turn it to the top of their order. McKenna Schrader steps up to the plate.
Now to bat, number 7, McKenna Schrader.
So this is Addison Woods' first inning here in the circle. She does give up the single right away, but she's got to be able to try and work this one back and get it back under control. As Schrader looks to lay down a bunt, fouls one back, and the count goes to 0-1. By the way, Addison Woods, the sophomore this year, has pitched in on 8 games. She's got a 6-2 record. That's 37 innings thrown, an ERA of 2.42, and she's got 20 strikeouts as well on the season. So they obviously fully trust the sophomore here to close out this game against a really good Atlantic batting program with Schrader. Watches ball 1 go by high, and the count will even up at 1-1. One ball, 1 strike is the count. Addison Woods, 1-1 pitch. This one's hit on by Schrader. It'll drop in the outfield for a base hit. And that'll put runners on first and second now for the Trojans. By the way, there's a courtesy runner in for the catcher, Knuth. I didn't catch who it was. It will be Hadley Bear. As head coach Terry Hinsman calls timeout to talk with Bear over on second. So Bears ends up on second, and Schrader ends up on first after that single. Back-to-back base hits for the Trojans. McKenna Sontag. McKenna Sontag steps up to the plate. Sontag there in her last at-bat popped out to center field, but it did drive in a run for a sacrifice fly. There in the top of the 5th where the Trojans have scored all 4 of their runs. They're looking to try and get back on top here with Sontag as she pops one directly up, and Janessa Woolsey, the third baseman, will get underneath of it and make the grab for out number 1. And it's always important to make sure you get that first out, because now the rest feel a little bit easier here if you're Clarinda. But with the 2 base runners, it's not going to necessarily be easy. And Lila Wiederstein, who has been perfect so far at the plate. Wiederstein has 2 singles there in her first 2 at-bat, and then in her last, she hit a 2-run blast over the center field wall that gave the Trojans a 4-2 lead. Woods misses the strike zone on the first pitch. This one's hit on hard by Wiederstein. That's going to go for a base hit. Lila Wiederstein is going to drive in at least 1 more run. She's also going to round 1 and head 2. An RBI double for Lila Wiederstein. She continues to add to her excellent night so far here at the plate, as that was just a line drive hit hard off of Janessa Woolsey's glove at the third base position. That would have been a tough play for Woolsey to make. You can never rule that one an error. I mean, it did touch her glove, but with all the power that Wiederstein put into that one, we're definitely going to give her the double with the RBI. And the Trojans jump out to a 5-4 lead again with runners on second and third. Zoe Kirchhoff, the pitcher, steps up to the plate. Kirchhoff so far has popped out in all 3 of her at-bats. She's an opportunity here, though, with 2 runners in scoring position to make Herb Knight there in the bottom of the 7th a lot easier with some insurance runs. This one's hit on by Kirchhoff into left field, deep into left field, and it is long gone. Zoe Kirchhoff, a 3-run blast. This one over the left field wall, and Atlantic now extends their lead to 7-5. Actually, it should be, believe it'll be, yep, there it is, the 8-4, lead now for Atlantic. Back another home run for the Trojans. And when the Trojans score, they do it in bunches. That's 2 4-run innings for the Trojans here tonight. A 3-run blast for Kirchhoff that scores both Wiederstein and Schrader. And the explosiveness of the bats showing here in the top of the 7th for the Trojans. Dylan Ball, the right fielder, steps up to the plate. Ball singled there in her last at-bat. She got 2 singles on the evening, hitting 2 for 3 on the afternoon. As she watches ball 2 go by, and they go up 2-0 in the count. The 2-0 pitch finds its way in there for a strike. Count will move to 2-1. Woods misses the strike zone. Addison Woods, that is, misses the strike zone there on the 2-1 pitch in the ball, and the count goes to a 3-1 pitch. A hitter's count now for Dylan Ball as she watches ball 4 go high to put a base runner on right after Zoe Kirchhoff cleared the bases with a 3-run blast. Peyton McLaren, the shortstop, steps up to the plate for the 4th time here tonight. McLaren 0 for 3 on the afternoon. Looking to maybe change that here as Ball will take off for second, get there in time, and the stolen base for Dylan Ball puts a runner in scoring position for the Trojans with just 1 out here in the top of the 7th. They're not done yet. They're trying to keep on adding to some insurance runs for the bottom of the 7th. Two balls, no strikes is the count. This one is popped up directly back and out of play. And McLaren's count will go to 2 balls and 1 strike now. Now the 2-1. This one's hit on by McLaren, popped directly up. Second baseman Ellie Nelson calls it off. Makes the grab for out number 2. And now, Claire Schroeder will step up to the plate for the 4th time tonight. Schroeder got on with a single there in her second at-bat back in the 5th inning. She was able to get around and score a run. Part of that 4-run top of the 5th for the Trojans. This one is hit off into left. It'll drop for a base hit. Ball's going to round 3 and head home, score a run. Another one scores for the Trojans on an RBI single there from Claire Schroeder.
Now up to bat, number 14, Jillian Sadoff.
Jillian Sadoff steps up to the plate for the 4th time tonight, and if Sadoff's able to get on, the Trojans will have batted all the way through their order. As ball got in there on the RBI single from Claire Schroeder, Atlantic extends their lead 9-4. Addison Woods misses the strike zone on Sadoff. The 1-0. This one is hit on by Sadoff into the outfield. Maddie Cole, center fielder, tracks it, makes the grab, and that's how the inning, or the top of the 7th, comes to a close, but not before the powerful bats of Atlantic show off. They get 5 runs there in the top of the 7th. They extend their lead 9-4 now over Clarinda as we get set for the bottom of the 7th. The Cardinals will need at least 5 to keep this game going. We'll be back on the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com right after this.
Salvage in Bartlett is no stranger to the ups and downs of owning and operating a small business. But no matter how much changes on their end, there's one thing that will always stay the same for their customers. It's cash. Call for the best scrap metal prices in the area and go ahead and test their unloading times. Then, when all is said and done, that's right, leave with cash. J-Dog Salvage, Bartlett, Iowa, 402-290-3124. That's 402-290-3124. Nutrient Ag Solutions takes the responsibility of growing seriously. As a leader in the ag sector, they provide their customers with complete agriculture solutions, including nutrients, crop protection products, seed, service, and digital tools for optimum customer success. Talk with Nutrient Ag Solutions in Westboro, Coyne, Percival, and Essex. Nutrient Ag Solutions, transforming agriculture and feeding the future.
Welcome back here into Clarinda. The Cardinals are going to have to plate 5 runs here, at least, in the bottom of the 7th. They do get to start off with the top of their order. Riley Maher steps up to the plate, so they're in a spot where you'd want to start your inning, but 5 runs is not a short task. Which, by the way, if you are just joining us, the Trojans were able to put on 5 runs there in the top of the 7th. 3 of those came because of a Zoe Kirchhoff 3-run blast over the left field wall. You also had an RBI double from Lila Wiederstein and an RBI single from Claire Schroeder. So some good hitting tonight from the Atlantic Trojans. Maher finds herself evened up in the count 1-1 with Kirchhoff. Kirchhoff trying to finish a complete game here in Clarinda. Two-one is the count. As the 2-1 pitch misses low for a ball, and a hitter's count now for Riley Maher and the Clarinda Cardinals. Leadoff batter here for the Cardinals. Here is the 3-1. Misses high for a ball, and the Cardinals start things off with a leadoff walk. Gives them a base runner to start things here in the bottom of the 7th, and now Stevie Wilmus, the left fielder, steps up to the plate, and if Cardinals are going to get back into it, that's how they're going to have to do it, is just keep putting people on base, As now the Atlantic coach comes in to have a quick conversation with Kirchhoff. We'll see if they possibly make any moves in the infield. Because Kirchhoff, like I said, has been pitching the entire game so far tonight. 6 full innings. She's looking to complete 7, but and they will elect to stay the same in the infield. It looks like Kirchhoff will stay in the circle, which is, a great idea in my opinion because she's been pitching so well so far tonight. I believe she's got 7 strikeouts, just allowed the 4 runs, and hasn't allowed that many hits as well. Stevie Wilmus, like I said, the left fielder, stepping up to the plate for the 4th time tonight. Wilmus started things off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 1st, where she got hit by pitch, stole a couple bases, and ended up getting home on an error. And she's grounded out to third base twice since then. She watches strike 1 go by. The 0-1 pitch is hit on by Wilmus to the shortstop McLaren, who makes the play over at second towards Maher. And that's a bad double play right there for the Cardinals. Wilmus tried to round first and then didn't get back to the bag on time. I don't really know why she tried to round first on the throw from McLaren to the second baseman. Sontag to get Maher out at second. Ends up being a double play for the Trojans, and now the Cardinals just working with 1 out. Down still 5 runs with no base runners. Annika Price, who has been really good so far tonight at the plate. She's got an RBI double and a single that she scored a run. Here's the 0-1 pitch into Annika Price. Price hits this one on into right. It will go foul. And the count will move to 0-2. That was close there down the foul line in right field, but it does fall on the foul side. Kirchhoff receives her pitch in the circle. Trying to put this one away here with an 0-2 on Annika Price. The 0-2 pitch way high for a ball, and the count will move to 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes is the count still. Here is the 1-2 from Kirchhoff to Price. Swung on and missed, and that's how the game will come to a close. The Trojans win it 9-4 as they have big innings there in the top of the 5th and top of the 7th. They put on 4 in the top of the 5th and 5 in the top of the 7th and complete the season sweep over Atlantic this year, winning the first game 4-2 in Atlantic and winning the second game 9-4 here in Clarinda. Some of the stat lines to look at for the Trojans anyway. Lila Wiederstein had herself quite a night. She ended up going 4 for 4, 2 singles, a double, a home run as well, and 3 RBIs and 2 runs scored there for the Trojans. As well as a Zoe Kirchhoff 3-run blast there in the 7th. That gave her 3 RBIs and a run scored. And then for the Cardinals, they were led at the plate by Annika Price, the shortstop, who went 2 for 3, with a single, double, run scored, and an RBI. But regardless, the Trojans win it 9-5 from Clarinda. I'm Tate and Amy. You've been listening to the KMAX stream Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to see you on Friday for a corner conference championship matchup. We're excited to see what those two teams are there in the corner conference tournament. We'll let you know, of course, at KMAland.com. You can check there for all your local sports. But for Tate and Amy and KMA, you've been listening to the KMA Extreme at KMAland.com. Saying have a great night. I will see you next time.